Biden has been breaking promises to the American people left and right. Okay, he broke promises about the stimulus, right? He broke promises about the minimum wage, right? He's just breaking promises all over the place. Okay, and apparently he's also breaking promises to his own staffers. Okay, promises made, promises broken. That should be the slogan of the Biden administration at this point. Okay, because the Biden White House has reportedly asked staffers to resign over past marijuana use, right? Now, let's read about this story and see how Biden has broken a promise here. A number of White House staffers were asked to resign or demoted for past marijuana use, regardless of whether those employees had been in one of 14 states where the drug is legal, according to a report. The Biden administration had required workers to disclose past marijuana use on a background check form, but told some new hires that it would overlook those who answered yes, the Daily Beast reported. Despite this, the White House director of Management and Administration, and Philippic reportedly led a series of one-on-one calls with staffers this month, asking those who admitted to past marijuana use to resign or be placed in a remote work program. Quote, it's exclusively targeting younger staff and staff who came from states where it was legal, one former staffer told the Beast. The move comes after the administration officially updated its guidelines earlier this year to allow for limited use of the drug in the past. Although marijuana has been legalized in a growing number of states, the drug remains illegal on the federal level, making it difficult for staffers trying to get security clearances if they've used the drug before. Quote, the policies were never explained. The threshold for what was excusable and what was inexcusable was never explained, one staffer told the outlet. Under the Biden administration's new guidelines, staffers were asked to cease all use of marijuana while working at the White House and submit to random drug tests. All right, guys. So apparently the Biden administration told staffers that it was okay if they had smoked weed in the past, right? Before getting a job at the White House, right? And, all they needed to do is just check off that they had used it and they was good to go, right? They was fine, right? However, they turned around and told those who had used the drug in the past, who had admitted to using the drug in the past, that, we not cool with this, right? Like, you either got to resign or work remotely. Now, what do I think about this? I think it's a funny story, but obviously it's not funny that people lose their jobs because they're using a drug on their own downtime. Shouldn't Kamala technically be fired because she admitted to smoking weed while listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg in the 80s, right? Kamala Harris used to be a huge pothead, according to her, right? So probably the biggest former pothead in the White House should probably be let go. She should be fired. Why does she still have a position if past pot use is an issue, right? But regardless of that, right, you guys know how I feel about legalization of marijuana. I definitely think it should be legal. I don't think the government should be telling people what drugs they can and can't use, right? Especially in their downtime. And I particularly don't like when companies do that, because at the end of the day, if that drug is not affecting your work performance, why does it matter? But I do understand why companies do it. I understand why the government does it, because the thing is that, if somebody is using drugs, even on their downtime, I can see the argument for how that may affect work performance. And I can see how that could be a potential conflict of interest, specifically when you work for the federal government, in regards to the laws being illegal, but you're allowing people to actually use the drug. It's legal to use in DC for the most part, right? Like, I can see how a conflict of interest could show up there in regards to policy. So the thing is that this is more reason, in my opinion, why, it being illegal at the federal level is just so silly, right? It's just so silly. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure these staffers, they got the job because they were probably highly qualified. right? And they probably deserve the job. They probably deserve that position. And for them to lose their jobs after being told that they wouldn't, right? I think that's messed up. I really do think it's messed up. I think those who have lost their jobs should at the very least be compensated for it, right? I hope that, Biden at least made them whole, considering that he misled them in regards to, the expectations in drug use. And also from the article, it sounded like they would be subject to drug tests in the future and things like that. So if you told them that past marijuana use was cool, right? Obviously, current marijuana use is not. As long as they're not using it, I really don't see the issue, right? I really don't. It's one thing if they had failed a drug test, right? Like failed a current drug test after knowing exactly what the policy is. Like, that's one thing. Obviously, yeah, you should be fired because you knew what the rules were. You knew you couldn't do it, and then you did it anyways. Now, generally speaking, going back to the whole company thing when it comes to marijuana use, it is still illegal at federal level, and companies do drug tests. And I honestly kind of do see drug tests as an IQ test. That's also another reason why, I'm not totally against companies requiring drug tests, because if you can't stop using a drug long enough to pass a drug test, especially if it's like a P test, if it's one of those short-term tests, like a long-term test, I get it, right? Like pulling the hair, like, yeah, they're going to be able to trace, your usage back maybe some years, if I'm correct on that. Anybody, you can correct me if I'm wrong, if more people have more information about, how certain drug tests actually work. But if you can't pass a short-term drug test, you're probably not fit for employment, right? Like if you can't stop getting high long enough to pass a drug test, right, to get a job, to bring in income, to take care of yourself, then you definitely have a drug problem. And that drug problem probably would affect work performance. But this is not that situation, okay? I think that this is the Biden White House basically going back on a promise, right? And, I think it's kind of messed up that these people lost their jobs like this. But, this is one of those things that's not black and white. It's a gray thing. Just more negative press for the Biden administration, in my opinion, because I think most people are probably going to look at this and be like, come on, man, are you serious? But who knows? I mean, it is one of those things where there's a deeper conversation about how to balance legalization in certain states versus, employment. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.